The other gems sat up, perplexed by Garnet's answer. When the wind had picked up and the area around them went dark, dark storm clouds swirled above them, blocking the sun, and they all stood up. A white disc-shaped ship zoomed down from the small cyclone, ready to land. "Move!" Garnet ordered, as they backed away from getting crushed. The strange ship paused right above the hill. Its six spider-like limbs shot out and they dug themselves to the sides of the cliff. The gems could only watch as the door lowered itself, a small stairway appearing from it. A black figure stood at the doorway, in its front side layered with darkness from the light behind it. "Greetings! Could you by chance be Steven Universe?" Yes," Steven answered hesitantly. "Marvelous." The figure smirked visibly, stretching across its face, before leaping down to the grass before them. A small white speckled black gem on her throat gleamed in the light, and the black, gray, and the white gems stood up, clearing her throat as if presenting herself, shifting to statue to her side. The newcomer smiled, seeing that the gems had their weapons out. "Ooh, my, where are my manners? I'm Apache Tears. I have heard some things about you, Steven Universe." Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, and Spinel. Spinel kept herself steady. "What do you want? Why are you here?" Apache Tears giggled politely, yet very manically. "Aw, don't be so intense. I only want one thing, and I'll leave." "Okay, just what is it?" Amethyst readied herself. Everybody else was doing the same. "Just..." The newcomer's eyes narrowed, all four gems reflecting them. "All of you." Laughing wildly, Apache Tears lunged herself towards Steven, intent on attacking him first, but Spinel wouldn't allow that. Both she and Pearl were blocking Steven, and blocked her way. Apache Tears didn't get the moment to get up, as Amethyst whipped around her and pulled her towards her. Garnet stood right in front of Amethyst and struck a well-aimed blow to the black and white gem's face, sending her back and her body slid across the grass. At first the crystal gems felt confident, but their guards had nearly fallen when Apache Tears got up. Her dull gray eyes were now crazed. "Fine," she spoke. "If you wish to play this the hard way, then so be it." Apache Tears then grabbed something from the little satchel and held it up, clicking the switch from the hilt of the back grip. The pole extended it out, and when it stopped, a white beam of light shaped like a diamond rod with a deadly pointed tip appeared. It cracked with energy as Apache Tears grinned wide-stretched, unnaturally wide, in fact. The crystal gems were startled, but Spinel stayed by Steven's side as Garnet, Amethyst, and Pearl ran over to her, preparing their attacks. However, Apache Tears was swift enough to dodge them, first striking Amethyst with her weapon, slicing her half, and the purple gem reduced into her gemstone. The new gem grabbed her, shoved her to a statue. Now Garnet and Pearl grew anxious, as Garnet was charging towards her with their gauntlets, but Apache Tears dodged them sideways and sliced Garnet in half as well, making her poof, and making the two gemstones fell into Apache's Tears bag. Pearl was left, and she tried to hold Apache's Tears back with her spear. The black and white gem just adjusted her movements, so the blade penetrated right through her chest, and the pale gem was down and out in Apache's clutches, leaving Spinel and Steven to face off their new enemy. Spinel stood up, protectively blocking her son from the gem, and her eyes blazed with rage, and her pigtails bursting. "Don't you dare lay a finger on him." Apache Tears wasn't fazed. "Aw, how cute, defending that cruel creature, but that's okay. I'll end that mindset for you." She then dashed towards them, Spinel grabbing her by the weapon, and then when the gem tried to aim the blade, her head dodged its way, avoiding the touch. "Blame me, you should have known I had a body that can stretch like that," Apache Tears remarked. "How wonderful. You'll be magnificent to assist me." "What does that even mean?" Spinel demanded. "This," screeched Apache Tears, as she gained enough strength to move out of the way from Spinel's grasp. Steven watched in horror as the blade struck through Spinel's head, right between the eyes. Her form poofed and her gem landed right in front of him. Boiling with anger, Steven got up and shielded out. "That's enough!" Now, Apache Tears wasn't fazed by his shout. That's no way to greet a guest. Just hand over her gem and I'll leave. She was then thrown off as Stephen summoned his shield and tossed it towards her like a disc. She scowled, and the shield in half with their spear sliced it. So be it. Grinning Apache Tears began to slash the boy with her weapon, causing the pink veins to appear on his skin. Stephen even tried to hold her back. Grabbing the pole, gray eyes bore into this, but he saw the satchel, and thinking fast, he tugged onto the bag, ripping it off her shoulder and releasing the gemstones out of her prison. The black and white gem yelped in shock, gritting her teeth, and brought her back to her foot between the groin area. Stephen wheezed from the pain as he fell to the ground, still holding his spear. Not wanting to waste time, Apache Tears grabbed the nearest gemstone, Spinel's. Fine, keep the others. From what I have seen, they're nothing special. Unlike this one, she giggled wickedly, and casting the Spinel's gem into a pale gray bubble. Stephen lifted his head weakly. What? What are you doing with her? He even tried to summon his shield, but he was bewildered as it glitched up and disappeared. Apache Tears shifted her eyes to the heart-shaped gem. Her? Oh, I'm going to take good care of her. But in the meantime, I'll let you go ahead and waste your time trying to contaminate those gems I hit, except... Her expression turned into a malign grin. You won't be able to inflict them anymore. What? What are you talking about? Arrgh! Stephen tried to stand up, but that kick she delivered nearly knocked him out. Don't hurt my mother, please. He then fell to his knees and panted, holding his stomach. Monster? Or mother? Apache Tears raised an eyebrow, either out of her sheer mockery of Janique confusion. You humans and your silly vocabulary. Well, it was such a pleasure to meet you, Stephen Universe. Cheerio! She then sang her last word as she ran up the staircase of her ship, completely forgetting her weapon. No, Mom! Stephen cried, reaching out for a hand, but it was useless as the ship glowed and flew off in the distance, away from Beach City. Stephen felt his tears spill, feeling nothing but horror and sorrow at the loss of the gem he beloved so much. Stephen stood up slowly, sniffling and rubbing the tears from his eyes. I gotta get the gems. In the living room with all 4 gemstones laid on the table, Stephen continued to stare at them pensively, hugging his knees when he heard the door open. Stephen, Greg shouted, running over to a teen. I came here as fast as I could. Are you okay? No, Stephen said, looking down. Greg saw the gemstones. Holy, she got everyone? Wait, where's Spinel? Stephen then sniffled, his tears returning. This gem Apache Tears took her away and hit the gems with this. He pulled out the gray weapon, activating the blade and deactivating it. But why? I don't know, Stephen lashed out. But then it was coming back to him his senses when he saw the look in Greg's eyes, and he had covered his face in his hands. When she hit me with that thing, it did something to my powers. He showed his gem, still emitting a faint pulsing glow. What am I going to do with it, Dad? I couldn't save the gems and lost Spinel. I couldn't do anything. Greg grew concerned, and sitting next to Stephen, and patted his back. Oh, suture ball, I'm sure she'll be fine. She's Spinel, the stretchiest, friendliest gem in the entire universe. I am sure she'll take care of herself against this, whoever did this. Stephen wiped a tear and exhaled. Thanks, Dad. Besides, Greg held Pearl's gem. What's taking them so long? As if on cue, Pearl's gemstone floated upwards. Never mind, here she comes. However, a blue translate clamshell formed around her gemstone, confusing the 2 males. It spoke, slightly sounding like Pearl. Please identify yourself. Greg Universe, Greg nervously answered. Greetings, Greg Universe. Please state your preferred customization options. Greg paused. What am I supposed to say here? He whispered to Stephen. I don't know, Stephen yelled. Default settings selected. Please stand by. Pearl's gemstone floated away and onto the floor, and the clam opening Pearl reappeared. Except she looked different. Her outfit was the same, and when she was serving Pink Diamond, Pearl opened her eyes. Pearl! Stephen exclaimed and approached her. Pearl, thank goodness you're back. Spinel's... But much to his dismay, Pearl ignored him and walked over to Greg. How do you know, my Greg Universe? Thanks for bringing me to the world. I'm in your internal service. Welcome to your new Pearl. What's going on? Both Greg and Steven shouted in illusion. Could her gem be cracked? Greg asked. Steven suspected the gem and shook his head. Then Ruby reformed and ran up to her. Ruby, are you okay? Ah! Ruby jumped back. Who are you? You're not my assignment. Greg scratched his head. I could really use an explanation here. Allow me to illuminate. Pearl then spoke up, twirling to the red gem. A ruby guard, but you must be a single one, as they tend to come in teams of 3 or more. Sapphire also reformed just in time. A precious sapphire, she seems to see the future. That's who the ruby is for. Ruby made this diamond salute. My sapphire is my own sworn duty, and the purpose I will protect you with my life. Huh? Ruby, I asked, puzzled. I will, said Sapphire. That's why I predict you won't be last more than a day. How come? Hopping off the table, Sapphire guided Ruby away as MFS reformed, except her form was just when she first emerged. MFS! Steven got her attention, waved his hand. Hey, MFS! MFS waved back. Hey, MFS? What? No, you're an MFS. You must be right. This is an MFS. Except MFS is big and strong. This one is not the best sample. Something is clearly wrong. I do say, something is clearly wrong, pondered Pearl, with MFS copying her movements. What are these different gems doing in a strange place? Steven grew worried. Pearl, don't you recognize them? Don't you recognize me? Pearl thought to herself. MFS is doing the same. Well, I certainly recognize my, Greg universe. Greg glanced away. Oh boy. Pearl then examined Steven. As for you, nope, not a clue. I'm Steven, Steven exclaimed. The kid you knew for years. Oh, if only Spinel was here? Spinel? Pearl then made a slightly cute confusion-used expression. A darling little Spinel is set to... A finger pressed on her lips and paused as Steven groaned miserably. I knew that. This is just wonderful. Wait, is this the same thing happening to Spinel? What is this weapon? He stared at the weapon, the item that Apache Tears used. What is this weapon? MFS copying his question. Sighing, Steven can hear the lion walk in. Hey, lion, do you know what's going on? All he got was a growl. Oh, you're no help either. At least I could still use your... He tried to put the object aside of Lion's mane, but the portal didn't open, and the weapon just fell through the ground. I can't even put stuff in Lion's mane anymore. That was the easiest thing to do. Steven picked up the weapon, gripping it tightly, and fought. Greg backed away from Pearl. Steven, what are you going to do? I don't have anyone else to help me except... Steven remembered something. Bismuth, Jasper, Lapis, and Peridot. They know what to do. Come on, you guys. He ran towards the door, realizing that no one was following him. Guys? What would you like me to do, my Greg? Said Pearl. MFS shapeshifted into Greg, confusing the pale gem. Steven then looked over the 2 gems. Ruby? Sapphire? Ruby blocked Sapphire's path. She's not going anywhere with you. I do see us following him to the countryside, assured Sapphire. Never mind, we're going. Ruby and Sapphire followed Steven to the door. Greg was trying to take back the laundry basket from Pearl and Amethyst, who took Pearl's form. Wait, don't leave me here alone with these 2. Just keep an eye on them for now. We'll be back. Steven shut the door behind him, and he and Ruby and Sapphire were off to their little homeworld, hoping to find out what's going on. Just as they walked down to the beach, Steven gazed towards the direction where Apache's Tears ship had flown. Mom, please be okay.